Can you believe that there's a time when buyers would purchase their home without a real estate agent? Let's take you back a few years and break it down. But before we get started, if you're looking to relocate to Southern Nevada, or perhaps you're just a local who's looking for things to do in Las Vegas and Henderson, I highly recommend that you sign up for our monthly newsletter that is action-packed with things to do around town and all the real estate news with several of beautiful properties that are featured in this newsletter. There's a link in the comment section below for you to sign up, and all you need is your email address. So for today's video, we're only going to be going back to the 20th century. So let's put it into perspective that this was way before the .com era. So people or buyers were just running from brokerage office to brokerage office to see what listings each brokerage had, because the listing agents that would acquire those sellers and make a contract with them to sell their home belonged independently to each and every brokerage. And it's kind of funny to imagine people just running around from one place to another to essentially see these listings, but it happened. The other option was just to drive around town, a neighborhood, and a community of where you wanted to live in hopes to find a for sale sign in a particular yard, and hopefully when you went to see the home, you happen to like it. I just want you to take a moment and think about how much time and energy was spent for these home buyers to run around town and look for properties to buy. So of course, given that each brokerage acted independently, that listing agent only sold the home if a buyer came in and found a match with one of the listings that brokerage had. And on May 12, 1908, in Chicago, Illinois, the National Association of Realtors was born. NAR had created the MLS. A brokerage can begin working with one another and communicating with each other to let them know what listings each brokerage has, because remember, they're acting independently. So not only did the MLS interact with each brokerage, but they also created kind of like a booklet that they would put each brokerage's listings into and then distribute to each office so then they can see what each individual office had. It was like today's MLS system, but just in paper form, and then that essentially got delivered one time a month. If it was a bigger city, then you were likely to see maybe a 2-month delivery of this book. This not only helped potential buyers save time by going to one specific brokerage and then that brokerage presenting that booklet to them and showing them all the listings of the houses for sale, but it also helped sellers decrease their time on the market, and it helped buyers waste less time and be more energy efficient, having to have that relationship with one brokerage who had all the listings and was able to present it to them. Once this started happening, the brokerages decided, hey, you know what, if our listings are listed in this booklet and we're A Realty, and B Realty has a buyer that walks into their office and actually ends up helping me out and sells the home for my seller, we'll go ahead and pay that agent a commission that is ultimately paid for by the seller. So this secondary agent essentially became a sub-agent of the seller. So you had Mr. and Mrs. Seller, their listing agent, and then that home would get published in a book, and then another brokerage company would therefore sell it, but that agent is acting in still the best interest of the seller, leaving the buyer out there all on their own. And in many cases, that sub-agent may have never even met the seller, but both agents were working for the best interest of the seller. Isn't it wild to know that business went on like that for quite some time? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think so far. It wasn't until 1983 that the Federal Trade Commission conducted a survey and found that buyers that were working with a sub-agent thought that they were acting in the best interest of the buyer. They didn't even know that that sub-agent was actually acting in the best interest of the seller, even though he didn't actually have the listing himself or herself. And that is how buyer agency came about in the early 1990s. This helped make it crystal clear to the public that you have a buyer real estate agent who's now representing and has the best interest at heart of just the buyer. And then you have a listing real estate agent who has the best interest at heart of the seller. I hope that you can easily see how important this buyer agency position is compared to back in the day when every agent was essentially looking out for the best interest of the seller. I'm sure you've heard a lot of chatter and seen tons of news headlines that are talking about the National Association of Realtors, also known as NAR, and the lawsuit plus the settlement that is currently waiting court approval. But if you haven't, watch this video right here as I briefly break it down to you and give you the actual true information of what is really going on. I hope this video helped just give you that mini history lesson on how real estate has adapted over the years. I'd really appreciate it if you found help in this video to send it to somebody, and don't forget to tap that subscribe button. My name is NashiraGamino, your Las Vegas Realtor. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.